Hello everybody. Today we are going to make a spooky x-ray of one of your teachers. We'll start in digital art on 9/24. That's today's date, or whenever you're watching this. You'll find 3 documents, and probably this video. But the first is a link that says Teacher Images, and when you click on it, it will bring up a list of all the teachers that we have pictures of. Today, let's start with Mr. Lusick. And so we'll do that by clicking on Mr. Lusick. Up here at the top, we'll click on him. And we're going to download it. We need to download the file because we can't copy it from here. And then when we open it up, it'll look a little different on yours, but I'll just copy it. All right. Then we'll open Photopea. We'll create a new project, and we'll make the 240 by 320. So this Photopea, because we've already copied the file, it knows how big the file is. So I'm going to go ahead and 240 by 320 is perfectly fine. This is going to be a very small picture, and then I'm going to press paste. And he's going to fill up the whole screen there. Okay. Now he's little. He's teeny here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the magnifying glass. Click it a few times so it takes up more of my screen. I'm going to make my screen even bigger for you guys. All right. All right. So here we have Mr. Lusick. Now we're going to make Mr. Lusick just a little creepier. All right. And we're going to do that by doing a couple different things. First, we're going to turn it black and white. So we're going to go all the way down here to the bottom. And we're going to click on this thing. It's the adjustment layer. And so I click on this, and it's going to bring up a whole bunch of options. So the first thing we'll do, black and white. Okay. Now there are some ways that we can adjust it if we want, but we're going to keep it pretty simple here. We just want him to be in black and white. The next thing we want to do is we want to adjust it one more time. And we want to invert it. We're going to invert the picture. All right. Now that's pretty creepy so far. So there he is. He's inverted. Okay, great. Next, we're going to go back to Schoology, and we're going to click on the skull. There's the skull. The skull opens. We're going to right-click or two-finger click on it. We're going to copy the image. We're going to go back to Photopea, and we're going to paste it. Now, I believe this is going to be a much bigger image. So it's going to look huge. Okay, now there it is. Now don't give up. We're going to click the selection tool. And it's so big. So what we just need to do is grab the corner here and just shrink it down. Then pull it back to the middle. Shrink it down. All right, we're getting kind of close. So we can lay it over the top of his face. So it looks pretty close. Now, that obviously is not perfect. We need to do a few things first. So we're going to make it a little smaller. Now, normally I would want you to hold shift to keep the aspect ratio, but we actually want to do just the opposite. We want to stretch and bend the skull so that it fits perfectly over his face. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to keep it selected, and we're going to move over here to where it says opacity, how much light gets through. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to drag it down, maybe into the 40s somewhere. So I can still see his eyes and his mouth. Now what we need to really do is we need to line up the skull with the hairline. Shrink it down here to the chin. Pull it in here. At the cheeks. So it's the ear. And then what we can do is we can go up to the warp function. And the warp function is going to give us more ability to change the way this looks. So I can move these eye sockets around so they really work, and really make sure those teeth line up. That really is one of the most important parts of this. The chin looks pretty good. Pulling in the chin here looks pretty good. I think this looks pretty good. Ooh, spooky. All right, great. Press the check mark. Nice job. Let's go back to Schoology, Back to the 924 folder. Now let's get the neck. We're going to right click or two finger click on this. We're going to copy this image as well. We're going to go back to Photopea and we're going to paste it in. Okay, now this is huge also. Look at this. So we're going to need to do the same thing. We're just going to grab the corner, just shrink it down, move it back to the middle, shrink it down, and fit it into the window. Now, this is a little difficult as Mr. Lusick here is tilted slightly to the side. So I don't know if I want to grab the corner and just kind of move it like this. You can see this shoulder here is higher than this shoulder. We'll have more ability to do some things like that today, using again the warp tool and things like that. So you can use the warp tool. I want the chin to kind of match up. Maybe bring the arm in a little bit. Okay, and again, we're going to adjust the opacity when we're clicked on this layer as well. Somewhere into the 40s. Okay. And we will click on the layer. You can turn the transform controls off there. Good. All right, this looks pretty good. It's not creepy enough though. So we're going to need to add some things to make this look even creepier. So while we're clicking on the top layer, we're going to go back down to the adjustment button and we're going to add a color fill. Okay, now don't freak out. It hasn't screwed everything up. It's just filled the page with color. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this, and I've got, you can choose your own color here, but I've got a good number here. It's this is the color number 428 E61. We click right here in the hex and we press OK. This is kind of a creepy color here. Again, you can choose something else, but I think let's go with this one for now. And then we'll click normal right here, the blend mode. And we're going to go to hard light. Excellent. This looks great. Okay, our next thing we're going to need to do is, I'm actually noticing here, I can see a couple things. I'm going to go back here to the skull layer and transform. I just feel like it just needs a little... Oh, I'm not clicking on the right layer. There we go. Whoops. This would have to go on the top first. You know what? I'm actually going to say once you're already here, we can adjust it a little bit if you want. Click on warp. I just thought that the eyeballs were not quite in the right spot. So I'm moving it up a little more. There we go. Click the check mark and then we're done. Okay. Now, finally, I think we're almost there, but the final thing we're going to need to do, click on the adjustment as well. And we're going to find the brightness and contrast. It's going to bring up some options here. We're going to just boost this contrast way up. It's going to make it look extra creepy. Now you're really going to see everything now. So if, for example, like I'm looking at mine here, it really does feel like the teeth are a little bit off. So I'm going to again go back to the skull layer. And click those transform controls. And really, I think I need to just warp a little more, getting those teeth a little higher. And bring the eyes maybe down. Everyone's skull is a totally different size. But this looks awesome. Click this check mark. And you guys are done. You've done it. You've created a creepy X-ray skull version of one of your teachers.